So I think we've already reported that there are NFL mock drafts out there. To have Lad McConkey going at the end of the first round, going somewhere at the end of the first round, that's not what I'm sitting here talking about, because a mock draft is a mock draft. But Todd McShay went on Ryan Russillo's show, a guy he's close with, a guy he claims he's only going to give certain information on Ryan's show, and I happen to listen to it sometimes. So, but what Todd McShay said about Lad McConkey, I had to go back and listen to it again because I wasn't expecting that from McShay. Here's a few of the things he said. His route running, his speed and acceleration, and his ball skills are second to none in this class. Who's in this wide receiver class? Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the most highly regarded wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones, since Calvin Johnson, since A.J. Green. Throw Jamar Chase in there as well. That's who Marvin Harrison Jr. is being talked about with. And Todd McShay said that the route running, the speed and acceleration, and the ball skills of Lad McConkey are second to none in this class. I think it's a lot. I think that's extremely high praise. I don't know if he's exaggerating a little bit, but look, if those things are true, then Lad McConkey is a first-round pick. But people view Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver from LSU. There's going to be 2 wide receivers possibly drafted in the first round. And Brian Thomas, the other wide receiver for LSU, also goes in the first round. And there's going to be 2 taken. We've seen that happen before. But I think that a lot of people view Malik Neighbors as like a wide receiver 1 in any other draft. So over a couple of guys that are big-time players, a couple other things he said. He said he thinks he's going to be a late first-rounder possibly. He's got a chance to, but he's more being realistic about Lad McConkey. He's probably a round 2 or 3 pick. That's how I've always viewed Lad McConkey, just because Lad is not the wide, like a lot of your wide receiver ones, wide receivers that are drafted in the first round are expected to be serious weapons. Are expected to be immediate contributors, expected to be possibly the wide receiver 1 of a team. That's the case a lot of the time. Now, it's not always the case, but Lad is more of, he's not just a gadget player, because I think he's a true wide receiver that can play 3 downs, but he is a guy in the NFL that will probably do a little bit better in the slot than he will on the outside. Just when the level of competition goes up 1 step higher and you're playing against NFL corners, I think they'll probably move him into the slot. But we've seen through Lad's numbers, you can do a lot of different things with Lad McConkey on the offensive side of the ball. Todd McShay also said he thinks he's going to be a big-time starter right away. Also, if you don't know who Todd McShay is, ESPN NFL draft analyst. There you go. Call me. All right, call me. I can do it too. I think he's going to be a big-time starter right away. That's what he said about Lad. Now, I think that he is the kind of player that can contribute immediately to an offense. I do think, Lad McConkey proved to be a serious weapon for Georgia. In an era when they had Brock Bowers, George Pickens played a little bit in 2021, Jermaine Burton was out there, A.D. Mitchell kind of wasn't out there that much. Obviously, in big moments, A.D. Mitchell showed out, but there obviously was some injury issues with him, and then he ends up going on to Texas, right? Probably one of the only people that has transferred out and received even more love was A.D. Mitchell, but rightfully so, with the big moments that he was a part of for Georgia. Lad kind of was, in a way, a little bit under the radar behind those guys. I'm going to get to that in a second. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post here, talking about Lad McConkey. Is he a first rounder? Are the things that he's saying, are the things that Todd McShay is saying about him true? Make sure you're checking out our newsletter down below. I'm linking that in the description. All you got to do is give us your email address, and we will give you all sorts of stories on dogpost.com pushed out to your inbox every single day. Real simple. First round level talent Georgia fans like Lad McConkey, sign up for the newsletter. So please do that. Appreciate you listening. I think with Lad, 2022 was his best year, right? Georgia's second national championship around the 2015 season. He was the number 1 receiver outside of Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers obviously the number 1 target, but Lad McConkey was the number 1 receiver. You can think back to a few games where Lad McConkey took over a little bit. Lad McConkey against Tennessee in 2022, huge catch. He just breaks wide open, just beats the guy. Florida this past season, 2023, I mean, just makes an outstanding play. I mean, I'm watching it. Oh, it's popping up on my screen. I'm getting to watch McConkey catch the ball, plant his foot, and spin the opposite way and dart by the rest of the defense. Those are some of the things that McConkey can do. I'm just going to reference a few more plays where I was like, whoa, I'm watching an NFL receiver right now, right? When I'm watching McConkey, I'm watching an NFL receiver. I think about in 2023, the Ole Miss play where he beats his defender, catches an underthrown deep ball from Carson Beck, and jukes out 4 guys on his way to getting inside the 5. I mean, it was a special play. It was a special play. I think about the end-around pass that he took, right, the end-around type play that he took and just zipped by the entire Mississippi State defense in 2022. I think about him beating the Auburn defender deep in 2021. I think that might have been his first career touchdown at Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. There may have been one before that, but I think about how he just blew by. Stetson Bennett throws a good ball. I think McConkey actually caught 2 deeper passes in that game against Auburn. A little bit of a breakout party for Ladd, and he just made all sorts of plays. I got his numbers pulled up. His freshman year, that 2021 team, absolutely loaded team, right? Mostly on defense, but loaded on offense as well. A team that was dealing with 2 different quarterbacks and a team whose identity was not passing the football. It was running with their running backs for the most part, right? And a little bit of Stetson mixed in there. Catches 30 balls for 478 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what he contributed as his kind of inaugural season as a contributor. And then in year 2, you see he doesn't have a lot of injury problems in year 2. He's the number 1 guy. Georgia's offense, you got Heisman contender at quarterback, and he catches 58 balls for 762 yards and 7 touchdowns. Added another 2 on the ground that season, so he had 9 total touchdowns. He had over 900 total yards in 2022 and 9 touchdowns. So the thing about it is Georgia receivers are not that productive. They just haven't been. George Pickens was not as, I mean, he was productive. He was kind of around the production of this. I could pull up Georgia's stats, and is he not the most talented receiver Georgia's had in a while? So that's kind of my point here, is that McConkey was all that for Georgia. He was all over the place. They lined him up outside. They lined him up. I've seen them line him up in the backfield. They've lined him up tight. They've lined him up in the slot. Kind of like Brock Bowers was a guy that they felt, hey, this is a better athlete than what you have. This is a guy that knows how to play the game. This is a guy that can catch the football. This is a guy that can break tackles, that can make you miss. He was a weapon. He was a weapon more so than just a wide receiver for Georgia, a guy that can return punts. Maybe that's his role in the NFL. If you can't figure it out as a wide receiver, I think you got someone that can play on special teams in McConkey. But I want to go back to what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. That's high praise. So I mean, because Marvin Harrison Jr., I get it. Is he overhyped a little bit? Yes. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a great NFL receiver. He's getting a little bit overhyped. But to say that McConkey's speed, route running, his hand, let me pull the quote back up. His route running, speed, and acceleration, his ball skills are second to none in this class. You want to hear, I mean, let me just pull up a list of the wide receivers. I don't have to. I could give you some of them. Receivers who I feel are very good receivers and have an opportunity to be very good in the NFL. Just off the top of my head, I'm not thinking. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. I do think Keon Coleman has that ability. I'm a really big Rome Odunze guy from Washington. I think Brian Thomas is really good. That's 5 right there off the bat that are legit NFL receivers. And Todd McShay is saying that McConkey, his skills are second to none. Let's go later rounds. A.D. Mitchell. I think he's a guy that could creep up into the first round as well. Former Dawg as well. Jermaine Burton, you don't want to hear it from me, but he does have those skills. So this is a deep wide receiver class. Malachi Corley from, I believe, Toledo. I'm blanking on where Malachi Corley's from, but I really like him. I've seen him in drills a lot. I think Xavier Legette, I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong, but from South Carolina. So my point being, this is a deep wide receiver class, and McConkey is got an opportunity to be a first rounder. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think he'll end up going in the second round, but an NFL team is going to be really happy when they draft McConkey. That's my point. Thank you for watching. That link is down below for the newsletter. Is McConkey a first-round pick? Is Todd McShay, is he maybe drinking a little too much? I'm just kidding. I don't know about that. But, hey, I think that he said some big things about Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd McConkey's great, but dang, possible first rounder.